Hi everyone, today me, Alvin and Danish are going to talk about arthropods, a species of animal without backbone, or we can call it invertebrate animals. Arthropods form the phylum Arthropoda. They are distinguished by their jointed limbs and cuticle made of chitin, often mineralized with calcium carbonate, and they possess an open circulatory system. The arthropod's body plan consists of segments, each with a pair of appendages, and also they reproduce through sexual reproduction. So we are focusing on a type of butterfly, Junonia athlites, the grey pansy. It's a species of nymph-like butterfly found specifically in South Asia. The sizes is around 55 to 65 mm, and in both sexes, the upper sides are grey with dark greyish brown markings. It has a pair of forewings described as three transverse, short, sinus black bands and bordered by a series of whitish ovals with dusky or black centers. The black centered spots in the ovals often margin with rich ochreous yellow. This type of butterflies are from kingdom Animalia, phylum of Arthropoda, class Insecta, order Lepidoptera, family of Nymphalidae, genus Junonia, and a species of athlites. This type of butterflies can be found especially along the forest edges, areas with a large amount of water such as coastal park, and they are like any other butterflies because they feed on variety of nectarine flowers.
The life cycle of the Junonia athlites, also known as the grey pansy, has 4 stages: the egg, larva, which is the caterpillar, the pupa or chrysalis, then the adult butterfly. The egg stage usually lasts 3 to 7 days, but it can vary among other butterfly species. The eggs of the grey pansy are laid singly on the leaves or shoots of the host plants. The greenish egg is somewhat globular in shape but with a flat top. Next, the larva or caterpillar stage. A tiny caterpillar will hatch from the egg. They would then feed on the eggshell as it has the necessary nutrients to help the small caterpillar. The yellowish-orange caterpillar will start to eat the leaf lamina and start to take on a yellowish-green appearance. After reaching 3 mm in 3 days, it will molt to the second instar, which is the developmental stage between each molt until they reach sexual maturity. At the third instar, the body will start to grow and become black. When it reaches the 6th instar, which is the final stage of larva development, the body will reach 45 mm and the caterpillar will stop feeding and wander around until it stops at the underside of a leaf petiole. It will then spin a silk pad which helps it hang vertically to take on the pre-pupatory pose. Pupation takes about 0.5 days later. The pupa suspends itself from the silk pad with no supporting silk girdle. It is then entirely greyish-brown with a series of dorsolateral pairs of short and pointed processes, 1 pair to each segment. The dorsum is sharply raised at the mesothorax. After 6 days of development, the pupal skin of the mature pupa turns translucent, and then it turns dark brown. The adult butterfly then emerges from the pupa the next day.
For the medical importance and medical values of the Junonia athlites is that they are good for the environment, as they are attracted to bright flowers and need to feed on nectar. When they do this, their bodies collect pollen and spread it onto other neighboring plants. They are also an indicator of a healthy ecosystem. And that's it for Junonia athlites under the phylum Arthropoda.
Okay, so that's the end of arthropods. Let's see what other species have been found by our team.
Hi guys, I'm Veera and I chose Pteridophyta. Polypodiosa, commonly known as fern, is a class of non-flowering vascular plant that possesses two roots, stems, and complex leaves, and that they reproduce by spores. The number of known exact fern species is about 10,500, but estimates have ranged as high as 15,000, the number varying because certain groups are as yet poorly studied and because new species are still being found in unexplored tropical areas. This is the first fern plant that we found in our journey today. The ferns are extremely diverse in habitat, form, and reproductive methods. Some are twinning and vine-like, others float on surface of ponds. The majority of ferns inhabit warm, damp areas of the earth. Growing profusely in tropical areas, ferns diminish in number with increasingly high latitudes and decreasing supply of moisture. Few are found in dry and cold places. Regarding the life cycle, the typical fern, a sporophyte, consists of stem, leaf, and root. It produces spores, and its cells each have two sets of chromosomes, one set from the egg and one set from the sperm. The sporophyte of most ferns is perennial, which means it lives for several years, and reproduces vegetatively by branching off the root-like underground stem, often forming large genetically uniform colonies, or clones. A few ferns propagate by root proliferations, and some, especially in wet tropics, reproduce by leaf proliferations. Many fern species are used in traditional medicine in many countries to treat different ailments. For example, ferns belonging to the Microsordium genus, such as Metuapoa, represent major medicinal plants in the Pacific Islands. These pharmacological effects concern very different diseases, but the major effects are in purgative, antibacterial, gastric and renal infection treatment, diuretic, painkillers, and inflammatory areas. In contrast to their widespread use, ferns have not been widely investigated by phytochemical analyses, which in many cases are not directly related with the described pharmacological properties. Okay, that's all for ferns. Our next species is fungi. This has to be one of the hardest species to find because fungi lives in soil rich in organic matter and few in drier areas with little or no organic matter. That's brief about fungi for me. Let's join my friends Razi and Easy in their quest to find fungi in this massive botanic garden.
Fungi are eukaryotic organisms that include microorganisms such as yeast, molds, and mushrooms. These organisms are classified under kingdom fungi. The organisms found in kingdom fungi contain a cell wall and are omnipresent. They are classified as heterotrophs among the living organisms. The taxonomy is for kingdom is fungi. Phylum is Basidiomycota. The class is Agaricomycetes and the order is Polyporids. Lastly, the family is Polyporaceae. The type of genus is Polyporus. Fungi are found all around the world and grow in a wide range of habitats, including deserts. But most grow in terrestrial environment, but several species live only in aquatic habitats. Like this, in the habitats that have a green and hot. Okay, most fungi live in soil or dead matter like this tree, and in symbiotic relationship with plants, animals, and on other fungi. Fungi, along with bacteria that are found in soil, are the primary decomposers of organic matters in terrestrial. This fungi on the dead tree.
Okay, now I will explain about the life cycle of fungi. Life cycle of fungi. Fungi has many different patterns based on species. Not all fungi reproduce in the same way, while some fungi reproduce sexually, and some asexually. Therefore, we're going to look at the life cycle for fungi. Firstly, I will explain about the sexual reproduction. Firstly, the first stage is spores. All fungi begin their life cycle in this stage. In the beginning, all spores are haploid, which means they have single copy in their genetic materials. Okay, the second stage is mycelium, which is diploid cells. When mycelium grows and develops, it might encounter another fungi. If two fungi are compatible with each other, each fungi with a haploid cell will fuse together and form a diploid cells. Okay, so the last stage is the meiosis. After the fungus has become mycelium, the next process is meiosis. During meiosis, a single cell splits into two cells. They produce two daughter cells. So, next is the asexual reproduction. During mycelium stage, the fungi have choice to reproduce sexually and asexually. Asexual produce mitospore, which are identical to the parents. The mitospore later grow into a new set of mycelium and entire life cycle repeats again.
The fungi behind me named Formitosidaceae. Formitosidaceae is the common bracket fungus. It is commonly found in forests in temperate regions throughout Asia and Europe. Formitosidaceae has been extensively used for medicinal purposes, particularly in Chinese and Korean. The benefits are anti-cancer characteristic, pro-apoptotic, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and inhibition of tumor growth.
For our last species in this documentary video, I will pass it on to my friend Benny and Afiq to talk about their study on Bryophyta.
Okay, so today we are going to be talking about an organism from the domain Eukaryote, from the kingdom Plantae, from the phylum Bryophyta, from the class Bryopsida, from the order Petios, from the family Petiosae, from the genus Tortula, and finally the species of Tortula moss. Well, you see, Tortula moss actually comes from a wide range of mosses. What are mosses? Mosses are actually, non-vascular plants. So, for example, they have leaves, stems, and roots, but these structures do not actually contain any of their transport vesicles. So that means substances such as glucose and water, as well as minerals, are not transported across the cells in these mosses. Okay, so these come from an order of plants with 1,620 over species. This includes the Timella moss, the Scorena moss, and of course the Tortula moss. The Tortula moss is also known as the wall screw moss or the cement moss, since it's actually found in damp areas like stairs that retain a lot of moisture, or spaces that are dark and have low light intensity, like on walls and everything like that, in a shady area. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Protonema and leafy stage are the two stages that will occur in the life cycle of bryophytes. In protonema stage, which comes directly from germination of spores, which precedes the appearance of more complex gametophytic plant that produces the sex organs. It is usually thread-like and highly branched in roses, but is reduced to few cells in liverworts and hornworts. Next is the leafy stage, where the plant grows away from ground. It is also in this stage where the plant generally produces male or female sex organs, or sometimes both. archegonium, that looks like a flask-shaped structure, is the female reproductive organ, where it contains a single cell that is enclosed in a swollen lower portion. When mature and completely moist, the neck canal cells of the archegonium disintegrate, releasing a column of fluid to the neck canal and surrounding water. The egg remains in the base of archegonium, ready for fertilization. The male sex organ is known as the antheridium. When wet, the jacket of the mature antheridium ruptures to release the sperm into water. When the sperm enters the field of fluid diffused from the neck canal, it swims from the neck canal to the egg. Upon reaching the egg, the sperm burrows into its wall and the egg nucleus unites with the sperm nucleus to produce the diploid zygote. At last, the zygote produces more multicellular body called sporophytes. Some cells from sporophytes undergo meiosis to produce haploid spores. And these spores germinate to produce another gametophyte. Hence, repetition of this process is called the life cycle of bryophytes. Okay, now onto the medicinal use of bryophytes.
Benefit the ecosystem more than it benefit human, as recent decade study could hardly find any benefits in human medicinal uses. It wasn't studied much in few previous decades, as it wasn't much of human interest because it was not high value as a source of food due to the fact that it has low calorific value.
The moss can be used as an air quality indicator because bryophytes have high absorption capacities of anything around it, so it absorbs any air pollutant, so we can take an understanding that it is a good traditional medicine to heal few minor lung or breathing problems.
The elements found in Tortula moralis have biological potential to be good for human skin, as their extract can be used for wound healing. But these findings are yet to be studied further by modern-day biologists.
In conclusion, what we have found is that it can be used to cure skin diseases, cardiovascular diseases, antimicrobial, wound healing, and many other ailments. It is mainly practiced as a medicine in Southeast Asia region. And that concludes our documentary video. Thank you, everyone.